The sky above Zarathus burned in shades of violet and crimson, clouds swirling violently as though the planet itself was alive. Captain Alex Rayner adjusted his visor, scanning the horizon from the small ridge overlooking the alien hive. The humans who had colonized Zarathus were cautious. They had seen strange readings from this part of the planet for months, but nothing prepared them for what lay ahead. Alex's team of guards moved in formation behind him, rifles ready. The ground beneath them was uneven, made of jagged black rock that seemed to pulse faintly, as if the planet had a heartbeat. The hive they were approaching was enormous, stretching across a valley and spiraling upward like a tower of organic metal and stone. Strange, glowing veins ran along its surface, illuminating the alien structure with a dim, eerie light. "Keep your eyes open," Alex said calmly. His voice was steady, though a part of him thrummed with anticipation. He had faced dangerous missions before, but there was something unnervingly intelligent about this hive, something that watched. The guards nodded nervously. Sergeant Lin, the most experienced among them, whispered to his teammate, "This place feels alive. I don't like it." Before Alex could respond, a deep tremor shook the ground. Dust and small rocks tumbled down the ridge. The guards instinctively crouched, but Alex stood firm, studying the hive. From the shadows of the structure, figures began to move. They were taller than humans, with elongated limbs and glossy carapace that reflected the dim light. Their eyes glowed faint green, intelligent and sharp. The guards froze. Then panic set in. "They're coming!" One shouted. The creatures advanced in unison, moving with eerie precision. Alex saw the fear ripple through his team. He could understand it, he had felt it himself, but he also saw an opportunity. Most humans would retreat, but sometimes facing danger alone could reveal truths that running could never show. "Hold your positions," Alex commanded, raising his hand. "Do not fire unless necessary. Observe." But the guards were already retreating. Their fear was too strong. They scrambled down the ridge, shouting orders and warnings to one another, leaving Alex standing alone. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. This was why he had trained. This was why he had volunteered for the frontier missions. To face the unknown, Alex adjusted his rifle and began moving toward the hive. Every step was careful, calculated. The ground pulsed beneath his feet, almost as if it recognized him. The alien creatures paused, tilting their heads, curious. They had never seen a human approach without fear. He reached the base of the hive. Its surface was smooth and strangely warm to the touch. As he pressed his hand against the strange material, a ripple ran through it. Alex jumped back instinctively, then smiled. The hive was reacting. It was intelligent. From deep within, a low hum began to resonate. The sound vibrated through Alex's chest. Then, from the shadows of the towering structure, the creatures surged forward in a coordinated wave. He ducked behind a protruding spire, using it as cover, and observed their movement. They were not mindless. Each step, each motion was deliberate. Alex realized the hive itself seemed to command them. Not the creatures individually, but something at the center, the core. He could feel its presence, a strange, magnetic pull that called to him. He advanced slowly, carefully, knowing that one wrong move could mean death. Yet his mind was clear. He had faced worse odds and survived. He had faith in human ingenuity, and humans, he knew, were unpredictable in ways no alien species could fully understand. The closer he got, the more the hive revealed itself. It was not merely a structure, it was alive. Veins of glowing energy pulsed like a heart. Strange vines, not plant but not metal either, shifted and moved with intention. Occasionally, he caught glimpses of the aliens watching him from high ledges, their green eyes following every motion. Suddenly, a massive creature lunged from above, landing with a thud that shook the ground. Alex rolled aside and fired a single shot. The beam struck the creature, and it screeched a sound that was both mechanical and organic. It retreated, but not before a warning growl vibrated through the air. Alex knew he was reaching the center. The air grew warmer, heavier, as if the hive was breathing. The ground beneath him throbbed. Every instinct told him this was dangerous. Every rational thought screamed at him to retreat, but Alex pressed on. Finally, he reached a clearing in the hive, a vast chamber that opened into a towering space. In the center, glowing with pale blue energy, sat the core crystal. Surrounding it were hundreds of alien drones, their eyes fixed on the crystal and now on him. Then from the shadows, a movement slow, deliberate. A figure emerged. Massive, regal, terrifying. The alien queen. Her carapace shimmered with iridescent colors. Her limbs were long, elegant, and lethal. But it was her eyes that caught Alex's attention. They glowed with intelligence and calculating. Alex raised his rifle, but he did not fire. The queen did not attack immediately. She studied him, and Alex for the first time realized that this was not just a creature, it was a ruler. She commanded her hive, not through brute strength, but through sheer presence. The queen tilted her head as if examining him. Alex felt no fear now, only a deep, focused determination. He understood that this confrontation would define not only his life, but the lives of every human on Zarathus. Humans. The sound entered his mind, not ears. The queen spoke telepathically. Alex staggered slightly, surprised. She could communicate without words, and yet he could understand her. "Why do you approach alone?" Her voice echoed, calm but immense. Alex swallowed and took a deep breath. "To understand. To protect my people. I am not here to fight. Unless I must." The queen paused. Then, with a flick of her limbs, the drones around the crystal shifted, forming a protective circle. She was testing him, and Alex knew it. This was a challenge. He would need every ounce of courage, every bit of his wit. To survive what came next, he crouched behind a crystalline spire, observing the queen. Every move she made was purposeful. Every twitch of her limbs seemed to command the very structure of the hive. He realized that this was not a mindless attack. The hive reacted to him, to his decisions, to his presence. Alex adjusted his strategy. He would not fight blindly. He would observe, learn, and adapt. That was the strength of humanity or unpredictability. Our ability to think and act in ways no alien could fully anticipate. For hours, the two studied each other. Alex moved slowly, carefully, drawing patterns on the ground to test the queen's responses. The queen shifted, sometimes advancing, sometimes retreating, her hive responding with coordinated precision. Every step Alex took was mirrored, challenged. An evaluated night fell over Zarathus. Though the sky glowed with the alien light of the hive, Alex did not rest. He stayed focused, watching the queen, understanding that the coming hours would define the balance of power between humans and this alien species. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the queen emitted a low hum and backed away slightly, creating a narrow path to the core crystal. Alex understood. This was a test, and he had passed the first stage. Not by force, but by courage, observation, and intelligence. He stepped forward, heart racing. The path to the center of the hive lay open, but he knew the hardest challenges were yet to come. Somewhere in the shadows, the full might of the alien queen awaited him, and he would face it alone. Yet Alex smiled. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and once again, they would rise to the challenge. Cliffhanger. As Alex approached the core crystal, the queen's voice entered his mind once more. "Human, do you truly understand what you face?" Alex tightened his grip on his rifle and stepped closer. "Yes," he whispered. "I face it because I must. I am human." The air inside the hive felt thick, almost alive, pressing against Alex like an invisible weight. He could see the pale blue glow of the core crystal ahead, shimmering as if it were breathing. The alien drones formed a protective ring around it, their bodies moving with strange, fluid precision. Above, the towering alien queen watched silently, her eyes reflecting ancient intelligence. Alex crouched behind a crystalline spire, studying the queen's movements. Each motion she made seemed to ripple through the hive. He realized that the hive itself obeyed her commands, responding instantly to her intentions. Every drone, every shifting surface, every glowing vein seemed connected to her mind. This was not a simple fight. It was a test of wits, courage, and endurance. The Queen's telepathic voice echoed again in his mind. "Human, you approach alone. Why do you not flee like the others?" Alex squared his shoulders. "Because I am not afraid to face the unknown, and I will protect my people no matter what." For a long moment, the hive was silent. Then the Queen made a subtle gesture with one of her limbs. Immediately, the drones surged forward, forming a moving wall between Alex and the core crystal. Their motions were swift and precise, but Alex noticed a pattern. He had been trained to observe, to read movements. Even the aliens had patterns, and he intended to exploit them. He rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the first wave of attackers. He fired his rifle not at the drones, but at the crystalline spires supporting the hive's walls. The spires cracked and fell, blocking some of the drones' paths. The Queen tilted her head, her glowing eyes narrowing. Alex smiled faintly. She was intelligent, but humans were unpredictable. The next wave came faster, more coordinated. Alex ducked behind a jagged pillar and studied them. He noticed that the drones reacted to direct aggression, but hesitated when faced with unexpected movement. Taking a deep breath, he set a small device on the ground and activated it. A bright pulse of light erupted, blinding several drones temporarily. It worked. They scattered, giving Alex a narrow path forward. He moved quickly, careful not to overextend. With every step, he felt the hive's energy pulsing stronger, as if it were aware of his presence. He realized something important. The hive responded to him not only physically but mentally. It could sense his courage, his determination, his intentions. The Queen spoke again, her voice deep and commanding. "You are clever, human, but intelligence alone will not save you." Suddenly the drones reformed, more numerous than before. Alex realized the Queen was testing his adaptability. He had to think faster than ever. Using the shadows of the hive, he darted between spires, creating distractions and leading some drones away from the core. Each move required precision, timing, and calm. Panic could kill him here. Hours seemed to pass, though he knew it could have been only minutes. He had learned the hive's rhythm, the subtle vibrations beneath his feet, the glowing signals of the drone's movement. Every sense was alert, every nerve focused. He began to anticipate their attacks, using the hive itself as cover, turning its living walls to his advantage. Then came the first direct test from the Queen herself. A massive tendril of glowing bioenergy shot toward him, faster than any drone could move. Alex rolled aside, feeling the energy brush past his shoulder. The tendril struck the ground with a force that shook the surrounding pillars, sending shards of crystal flying. He realized the Queen was not just testing his physical skill, but his mental composure. He took a deep breath and focused. Humans were not the strongest, nor the fastest, but they were clever. They could adapt, improvise, and endure. He looked around and noticed a cluster of small energy conduits running along the walls of the hive. With a careful toss, he redirected a small explosive charge into one of the conduits. A surge of energy shot through the hive, creating a temporary barrier between him and the tendril. The Queen's eyes glowed brighter, a mixture of surprise and respect. Alex felt a surge of confidence. She understood now that humans were unpredictable. He could think, adapt, and survive in ways her drones could not anticipate. But the Queen was not done. She projected visions into his mind, images of past failures. The colonies destroyed, humans being overpowered by alien forces. The images were vivid, terrifying, and real. Alex felt a chill run down his spine, but he clenched his fists. Humans had faced death before. They had survived. They had risen against impossible odds. He would not break. "Your mind is strong, human," the Queen said. "But courage alone will not win this test." Alex forced himself to focus on the present, not the visions. He moved closer to the core crystal, careful to stay within the shadows. Each step was deliberate, measured. He observed the drones, noting their weaknesses, the pauses in their attacks. The moments when the Queen's attention shifted. Every observation counted. Every second mattered. A new wave of drones attacked, faster and more precise than before. Alex ducked, rolled, and used the environment to his advantage, creating obstacles and traps from fallen crystal shards. He used small pulses of his rifle to distract the drones, leading them away from the core crystal. His body ached, his mind raced, but he moved with confidence. Finally, he reached a position near the core. The glow of the crystal reflected off the hive's walls, bathing him in pale blue light. The Queen's presence was stronger here, almost overwhelming, but Alex held his ground. He could see the intelligence in her eyes now, the curiosity, the recognition of his courage and cleverness. "You are unlike the others," the Queen said. "Most flee. Most fight blindly. But you think? You adapt. You endure." Alex lowered his rifle slightly, keeping his eyes on the Queen. "I am human. We survive because we think, because we act, and because we do not give up." The Queen tilted her head. For a moment, there was silence. Then she stepped aside, creating a narrow path to the core crystal. Alex understood he had passed this part of the test. His courage, intelligence, and resilience had impressed her, but the path was not safe. The core crystal pulsed with energy, and the drones still guarded it. Alex approached cautiously, feeling the hive's energy resonate with him. He realized the core was not just a power source. It was alive, connected to the Queen and the hive itself. Its energy pulsed like a heartbeat, and he could sense the intelligence within it. The Queen spoke once more, her voice echoing in his mind. "You are brave, human. But the ultimate challenge lies ahead. Can you face not only my hive, but my mind? Can you endure what no other species has endured and still remain?" Human, Alex took a deep breath. He could feel the weight of the test pressing down on him, but he did not hesitate. Humans had always faced the impossible and found a way forward. That strength, that spirit, was his greatest weapon. "I will face it," he said firmly, "because that is what humans do. We do not run. We do not falter. We face the unknown and rise stronger." The Queen studied him, her massive form looming over the core. Then, without warning, she raised a limb, and the hive itself seemed to shift and change. Pathways opened and closed, drones surged and receded, and Alex realized that the next stage of the test had begun. This was no longer just a physical challenge. It was a test of intellect, of courage, of the very essence of what it meant to be human. He would face illusions, mental projections, and simulations designed to break him. But Alex smiled faintly. Humans were resilient. Humans were unpredictable. Humans could endure what others could not, and he would prove it. For now, he moved forward toward the core crystal, toward the alien Queen, and toward a confrontation that would test every limit of human courage and ingenuity. The hive pulsed. The Queen watched, and Alex stepped into the unknown, ready to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The hive's walls pulsed with a living rhythm, each beat echoing like a heartbeat that resonated through Alex's chest. He had passed the first test, the drones. The physical challenges, but the Queen's eyes glowed with something deeper now, a challenge of the mind. A test of spirit. Alex paused for a moment, breathing steadily. He could feel the hive watching, feeling him as if it could read every thought. Every nerve in his body was alert. He knew that what came next would not be just a fight. It would be a battle for the essence of who he was as a human. "You are brave." The Queen's voice entered his mind again. "But bravery alone cannot win this. You must show me what makes your species worthy." Before Alex could respond, the room shifted. The walls of the hive seemed to bend and twist around him. Shadows grew long, stretching into impossible shapes. The core crystal's glow warped, filling the chamber with blinding light, then darkness. Alex stumbled slightly, his senses confused. He realized immediately this was the Queen's mental projection. A test. Designed to see how he would respond under fear and uncertainty, images flashed before his eyes. humans trapped in flames. Colonies destroyed by alien attacks, friends calling for help while he could do nothing. The visions were vivid, real, and terrifying. Alex's mind instinctively wanted to flee, to close his eyes and surrender. But he remembered who he was. Humans were survivors. Humans adapted. Humans never gave up. Alex focused, forcing his mind to separate the visions from reality. He moved carefully through the shifting chamber, noting the illusions, predicting the patterns. Every flash, every shadow, every image was designed to break his spirit, but he remained calm, observant, and deliberate. The Queen's voice echoed again, softer now, almost curious. "Most of your kind would break under this test," she said. "Why do you endure?" Alex slowed his steps, carefully navigating around a projection of a collapsing colony. "Because humans face the impossible," he said aloud, though he was alone. "We survive because we think. We survive because we act. We survive because we never give up." The shadows around him shifted again, forming humanoid figures with glowing eyes. They lunged at him, silent but deadly. Alex ducked and rolled, using the crystalline spires for cover. He realized that this stage of the test required not only mental endurance, but adaptability. He had to think creatively, use his environment, and act faster than the illusions could anticipate. He picked up a shard of crystal from the ground and hurled it toward one of the shadowy figures. The illusion dissolved for a moment, giving him a narrow path forward. Each move he made had to be precise. Each action was a statement. Humans were unpredictable, clever, capable of using their environment to survive. Ours passed, or was it minutes? Time had no meaning here. The Queen continued to push him, creating more illusions, more challenges. A wall of fire rose from the ground, separating him from the core crystal. He felt the heat, smelled the smoke, yet knew it was an illusion. He focused, analyzed the pattern of the flames, and found a small passage through the blaze. Carefully he advanced. Then came the most personal test. The Queen projected images of his own fears, his family, his friends, the humans he had sworn to protect. They were in danger, screaming for help, and he could do nothing. The illusion was so real that Alex felt a pang of despair. His heart ached. But he refused to give in. Alex remembered the lessons he had learned on countless missions. Fear was a tool. Courage was stronger. Doubt could paralyze, but determination could move mountains. He focused on what he could control: his actions, his choices, his resolve. "Why do you not falter?" the Queen asked softly, almost admiringly. Alex's voice was steady. "Because we are human. We survive by facing what terrifies us. We endure because we refuse to give up. That is what makes us strong." The shadows dissolved, the walls ceased, their twisting, and the illusions faded. The hive returned to its normal state, though the glow of the core crystal was brighter than before. Alex could feel the Queen's presence directly now, her intelligence probing his mind. She was testing not just his courage, but his understanding of humanity. "You endure because you are clever, adaptable, and determined," the Queen said. "But can you act with wisdom? Can you make decisions that honor life, even under pressure?" Alex considered her words carefully. He realized the final test was not to fight or survive, but to show leadership and judgment. To act with humanity, not just instinct. Suddenly, a new threat appeared. The core crystal pulsed violently, sending waves of energy that could destabilize the hive. The Queen had not attacked him, but the hive itself now challenged him. Alex had to decide: he could attempt to seize the crystal, risking destruction, or he could find another way to resolve the threat without causing harm. He studied the patterns of the energy pulses. Using his knowledge of physics and engineering, he identified weak points in the crystal's energy flow. Carefully, he adjusted the frequency of his rifle's energy pulse, creating a harmonic resonance that stabilized the crystal without harming the hive or its inhabitants. The Queen's eyes widened in recognition. Alex had not only survived, but had solved a problem that could have destroyed them both. He had acted with intelligence, courage, and care, a true human solution. "You are remarkable," the Queen said. "Your species is unlike any I have encountered." You do not rely solely on strength. You think, adapt, and endure. You respect life, even when threatened. Alex stepped closer to the core crystal, cautiously. He could feel its energy, vast and powerful, yet not hostile. He realized that the Queen had been testing him to see if humanity could coexist with forces greater than themselves. Forces that could destroy entire civilizations if misused. Your people. Your colony. They could learn from this, the Queen continued. You are brave and clever. Perhaps your species has potential. Alex nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. He understood now that this encounter was not just a battle, it was a bridge. A chance to show that humanity was not just strong in body, but in mind and spirit. He was alone here, yet his actions represented every human who had ever faced impossible odds. He approached the Queen cautiously, and showing respect rather than fear. I have faced your tests, he said. I have endured because I am human, and I wish to show that my people can coexist with your hive. We can learn from each other, not destroy each other. The Queen studied him silently, her massive form looming over the core. Then, slowly, she lowered her limbs, a gesture of acknowledgement and respect. Alex realized this was the ultimate reward for passing the test, not victory over the Queen, but recognition of humanity's value. The drones, which had been tense and ready to attack, relaxed. They moved aside, creating a clear path. The hive itself seemed to hum in approval. Alex could feel the energy of the core crystal flowing calmly now, as if in harmony with his presence. You have endured what no other species could, the Queen said. You have proven that humans are capable of courage, intelligence, and wisdom. You face the unknown alone, yet you act not with recklessness, but with purpose. That is why you survive. Alex lowered his rifle, finally allowing himself a moment of relief. He had faced the Queen's full test, mental, physical, and moral, and had survived. More importantly, he had shown that humans were not merely fighters. They were thinkers, problem solvers, and adaptable beings capable of facing the greatest challenges with courage and intelligence. He looked at the Queen and the core crystal, feeling a deep sense of respect. We can coexist, he said quietly. Humans do not have to conquer. We can learn, we can adapt, and we can survive together. The Queen's eyes glowed softly, and she stepped back from the core crystal completely. Alex understood now that the test was over. The Queen recognized humanity's value not as a threat, but as a species capable of greatness. As he turned to leave the chamber, Alex felt the hive pulse around him, not with hostility, but with awareness. He had passed the ultimate test. Alone, he had faced the alien Queen, endured visions of fear and despair, solved complex problems, and proven the ingenuity, courage, and wisdom that defined humanity. The hive seemed to shift in recognition of his victory. The Queen's final words echoed in his mind. You are human, and humans are remarkable. Alex stepped into the light, ready to return to his colony, carrying with him not only the knowledge of the hive, but the proof that humanity, even when alone, could face the unknown and rise victorious. The chamber was quiet now, the eerie hum of the hive replaced with a calm energy. Alex Raynor stepped carefully over the smooth, glowing floor, feeling the pulse of the core crystal beneath his boots. He had faced the alien Queen's tests, the drones, the illusions, the mental challenges that he had endured. Yet he knew the most important part of this encounter was only beginning, earning the Hive Queen's respect. And showing that humanity could be more than just survivors, the Queen's massive form loomed above him. Her limbs moved with grace, almost like a dance, but there was power in every gesture. Her eyes glowed softly, the earlier aggression replaced by curiosity and caution. Alex raised his hand in a gesture of peace. I did not come here to fight, he said steadily. I came to understand, and to protect my people. We can coexist if you allow it. The Queen's telepathic voice entered his mind, calm yet strong. You speak of coexistence. Few creatures have dared to speak with me instead of fleeing. Why should I trust you? Alex thought for a moment. Because humanity is not just about survival. We are thinkers, problem solvers, and creators. We adapt, we learn, and we respect life. You have seen what I endured alone. That is what makes us strong. That is what makes us worthy of trust." For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. The Queen's gaze seemed to pierce his very thoughts. Then she moved closer to the core crystal, her massive body radiating energy. The hive responded to her motion, the walls shifting slightly, the drones realigning. Alex realized that the entire structure of the hive was an extension of her consciousness. Yet she had allowed him to navigate it, survive it, and prove his worth. "Most creatures are predictable," she said slowly. "They fight blindly, or they flee. You are different. You act with thought and courage. You face the unknown alone, yet you consider the lives of others. That is not weakness. That is strength." Alex felt a surge of relief, but did not let it weaken his focus. "Strength without wisdom can destroy everything," he said. "Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, but we learn. We adapt. That is why we endure. And that is why we can live in harmony with your hive." The Queen studied him carefully. She extended one limb toward the core crystal, and the energy pulses around it slowed, flowing evenly, as if she were testing him once more. Alex noticed that the crystal's energy was responsive. It seemed to sense his intentions. With careful steps, he approached the glowing core. Feeling its warmth and intelligence, he realized the crystal itself was sentient. Connected to the Queen, it pulsed in rhythm with the hive, yet it did not attack him. He reached out, letting his hand hover above its surface. The crystal reacted, sending gentle waves of energy through him. He felt clarity, understanding, and a strange connection to the hive. It was alive, and yet it was not hostile. "You have learned much," the Queen said, "and you have acted wisely. Now, show me how your species can benefit the hive without causing harm." Alex considered her words carefully. He thought of his colony, the humans who had fled in fear, and the potential for cooperation rather than conflict. "We can help each other," he said. "Humans are curious, inventive, and adaptable. We can share knowledge, help maintain the balance of your hive, and learn from your intelligence. We do not seek conquest. We seek understanding." The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly, as if assessing the truth in his words. Then she spoke slowly, her voice filled with a sense of gravity. "Few species offer such honesty. Few creatures endure what you have endured, and come forward with respect rather than aggression. You demonstrate traits that are rare in the galaxy. Perhaps your kind is worthy." Alex's heart raced, but he kept his composure. He knew that the Queen's recognition was more than just approval. It was a chance to establish a lasting understanding between humans and the hive. "We are worthy of trust because we prove it through action," he said. "Not by strength, but by courage, intelligence, and respect." The Queen stepped back from the core crystal completely, and the drones shifted aside. Alex realized that she was granting him access, not just to the crystal, but to the future of the hive itself. The energy around him flowed calmly, a sign that the hive accepted his presence. For the first time, he allowed himself to look around with a sense of hope rather than fear. The colony that had fled in panic would return, and they would witness what humanity could achieve. Not by force, but by ingenuity, courage, and moral strength. "You have passed the trials of body, mind, and spirit," the Queen said. "You have proven that your species can act with wisdom and courage. I recognize your value, human. You may return to your colony, and they may live without fear of my hive. But know this, you represent humanity. Your actions will be remembered here." Alex nodded. "I understand, and I will tell my people what I have learned. We will respect your hive and work together where we can. Humanity does not seek to destroy what it does not understand. We seek to grow, to learn, and to survive." The Queen's limbs shifted, almost imperceptibly, in what Alex interpreted as a gesture of acknowledgement. The drones aligned in new formations, no longer hostile. The energy from the core crystal flowed in steady pulses, filling the chamber with calm light. Alex could feel the hive itself accepting this new order. He took a deep breath and turned to leave. Every step he took was deliberate, showing respect to the Queen and the hive. Outside the chamber, he could hear the faint hum of the hive spreading through the corridors. The air felt lighter, less oppressive, as if the entire structure had changed with his actions. When he emerged into the open area where the guards had fled hours ago, he saw them watching in awe. Sergeant Lin stepped forward, eyes wide. "Captain, you did it. How did you survive?" Alex smiled faintly. "We humans survive because we adapt, because we endure, and because we think. Fear can make others run, but courage can change the outcome." The guards looked at him with a mixture of shame and respect. They had fled when the hive first attacked. But Alex's actions had proven that humanity's strength was not in numbers or brute force. It was in intelligence, courage, and the ability to face the unknown. He turned back toward the hive. The Queen's massive form was visible in the distance, watching. Alex knew that this encounter would not be forgotten. Humans had shown that they were a species capable of facing impossible odds and emerging with honor and tact. "Captain," Lin said quietly, "what now?" Alex looked at the horizon, at the glowing hive, and then at the colony that awaited his return. "Now," he said, "we build, we learn, and we prove that humans can face anything, alone or together, and rise stronger. That is what it means to be human." The guards nodded, inspired. They had witnessed courage and intelligence triumph over fear and uncertainty. They would carry this lesson back to the colony and beyond. Humanity had faced the alien hive alone, and they had endured not through brute strength, but through ingenuity, moral strength, and courage. The Queen watched from the distance, her eyes glowing softly. She had tested him, challenged him, and observed humanity's potential. Alex had proven that humans were not just survivors, they were a species capable of greatness, capable of facing the unknown with courage, intelligence, and respect. The colony returned. Cautiously at first, and then with curiosity and hope, Alex led them, showing them the hive, explaining what he had learned. Fear turned into fascination, panic into determination. Humans were no longer just colonists. They were a species that could confront the unknown, would understand it, and thrive. The hive remained powerful and alive, yet calm. The drones no longer attacked, and the Queen's presence became a symbol of mutual respect. Humanity had survived the impossible, and they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. As Alex looked at the horizon, at the alien structure now bathed in the soft glow of Zarathus' twin suns, he felt a sense of pride. Humanity had faced the unknown alone, and through courage, intelligence, and moral strength, they had triumphed. He turned to his people and said, "Remember this day. We faced what others feared, and we endured. That is what it means to be human. That is why we survive, and that is why we rise." The Queen's telepathic voice echoed one final time, calm and measured. "You are human, and humans are remarkable." And with that, Alex Raynor led his people back to their colony, carrying not only the knowledge of the hive, but the proof that humanity could stand alone against the universe and prevail.